Let's continue now with session 4. You should have these notes with you: accents, metheg, and makef, and also your Bereshit, a page of your Bereshit, Genesis. So this page, you should have this before you. So we'll need this. So accents, metheg, makef. Let's consider the objectives for this session. 1. Explain some of the significance of Hebrew accents. 2. Differentiate a metheg from a siluk. 3. Cite 2 main functions of the metheg. Let's look at accents first. The Masoretes devised the vowel points and accent signs for the Hebrew text. The BHS, or Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, has 27 accents for the prose and 21 for poetry section, mainly in the Psalms, Job, and Proverbs. The accented syllable is called the tone or tonic syllable. For instance, in the example, you have your mimakom there as an example. It's transliterated for you already. It has propretonic, pretonic, and tonic syllable. Your tonic would be your stressed syllable. And then you have as an example also your melek. So in this example, you have your, for memakom, your propretonic, pretonic, and then tonic. This is the accented syllable. For segolites, 2 syllables, this would be an example is melek, the accent is here. So that this is your tonic syllable. What's the significance of accents? Would you like to read that, please? You read number 1 and I'll read number 2. So these accents can either connect words together or they separate words apart from each other. Number 2, for exegesis, strong disjunctive accents mark the divisions in a sentence or the end of a unit. For instance, in the reading of the text, strong disjunctive accents like the atnak and the suluk indicate a pause or a break, slowing down in the recitation of the text. So if you see an atnak or a suluk, you pause. So you're wondering what's an atnak here? An atnak is an inverted V. It's an inverted V. We'll look at a text, at your text later. And then the siluk marks the end of the second half of the verse. It is placed below the accented syllable of the final word of the verse. I'd like for us to look at an example in Genesis 1:1. So take out this one. If you have your BHS, that's fine. I'll take at this page, at least at this point. And let's look at Genesis 1:1. So you have your verse there. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz. So looking at Elohim, there is an inverted V under Elohim. Here. Look at the word Elohim. There is an inverted V. That refers to Yatnak. It means you divide that verse in this section. And then you also have at the end, on the word haaretz, there's a siluk. On the word haaretz, this is your siluk. I mark it red, also the atnak, so that you can see it. Your atnak, and then this is your siluk. How do you know that this is a siluk, not a metheg? It is near your point in Hebrew. So it's very near, it's closest to the period in Hebrew. So that's your Seluk and Atnak. Again, it's important. These are important because they divide the verse into 2 parts, at least for the Atnak, and then they signal the end of a verse as well. Let's consider now metheg. So we have seen the significance of accents. Let's look at metheg. In form, the metheg or bridle is a vertical stroke like a seluk that occurs under and usually on the left of a consonant. Its presence in a word helps preserve the precise pronunciation of a vowel. So a siluk at the end, toward the end of a sentence, and a metheg, it helps preserve the pronunciation of a vowel. Letter A, it helps you distinguish a kametz or a long A from a kametz hatuf or a short O. Let's look at some example. So on your notes, you have there, one is the word akela. It has a metheg. If it's akela, the vowel is a long A and the word is divided as akela, which means she ate. But without the metheg, the bridle or it's like the vertical line in there, without the metheg on this one, then it can be pronounced as okla. Without metheg, the vowel is a short O and the word is divided as okla, which means food. So it distinguishes one that is a verb and one that is a noun in here. So A and O is distinguished because of this metheg, the presence of the metheg. Also, letter B, it distinguishes a long I from a short I. So there's this one word here, yeru, and then the other one is yeru. With metheg, the vowel is pronounced like a long I and the word is divided yeru, which means they fear. Without a metheg, the vowel is short I, the word is divided as yeru, and it means they see. So there's a difference in here, a long I or a short I. The metheg must not be confused with the siluk, since the siluk is also a horizontal line. You can easily distinguish one from the other in that the siluk is usually on the final syllable of the last word in a sentence and is accompanied by a suf pasuk. So this one would be a siluk. Siluk, it's near a suf pasuk or your period in Hebrew. This one is your metheg is usually present whether it's a when it identifies a long A and then it's a long I. So that's for the significance of the accents and then your metheg. We continue. We look at the makef at this time. So the makef joiner is not exactly an accent, but it is part of the accentual system in that it joins two words to form a unit. They are then read as though constituting one word. For instance, il hayr, so to the city. So il hayr, to the city. The two possible effects of this merger are as follows. Letter A, the primary accent is moved to the final word, the last word, leaving the initial word unaccented. And there are also vowel changes. For instance, in the example below, you have kol hayom and then kol hayom also. So there's the long O and then there's the short O. So the vowel O, long O, was shortened to O because of these changes in here brought about by the makef. We continue. We talk about kametz hatuf. How do I know if it's a kametz or a long A and then a kametz hatuf, which means an O, short O? Letter A, the sign of the kametz, it's like an A there, is a kametz hatuf short O when it occurs in a close and accented syllable. So this guy is an O if, letter A, it occurs in a close and accented syllable. So one way to memorize that would be CUO. That's the way I memorize it. If the syllable is closed, it is an accented, then it is short O. On the other hand, the sign, this sign, kametz, is a kametz long A when it occurs in an open syllable. You have your example there. For instance, your pakadta. So your open syllable there is your pa. And then number two, it occurs in a close but accented syllable. Close but accented syllable. So in your midbar, the accented syllable is the last syllable, bar. So that would be your accented. So it's a kametz, it's a long A if it occurs at the end of a word or the last syllable. And then number three, the syllable is marked by a metheg. So the syllable is marked by a metheg. You see again your sign there. So in for instance, in here you have your hakima. The syllable is marked by a metheg. There's a metheg in there. You see the vertical line in there. So for this session, we have covered significance of accents, your metheg, your makef, and then your kametz hatuf. How do you recognize a kametz hatuf from a kametz, which is a long A? So kametz hatuf is your short O, and then kametz is your long A. So if it's O, if it is O, if the syllable is close, unaccented, and then it's O. So we're fast. We seem to have moved fast. But anyway, for your assignments, do exercises E4, 6C, 1 to 5. So that's 4, C, 1 to 5. And I think the instruction there, if you look at the details of your assignment, is just to translate. The book is saying you read, you can do that, read the Hebrew aloud and then translate into English. So for instance, I'll just, as an example, we don't have six here, so I'll just use number 1 as an example. So translate this, translate 1 to 5, that would be your assignment, but let's use 1 as your example. It is saying translate, not transliterate. Earlier you have been doing transliteration. When you transliterate, you give the equivalent English term of the letter. So for instance, your melek here, transliterate it, it would be that way for your melek, transliterated. But when you translate, it means you give the meaning. So transliteration is you give the equivalent letter in English. Translation is you give the meaning. So in here, what you'll do for your assignment is to translate, not transliterate, as you have done previously. So number 1 would be, I can translate that as he dwelt in a house, in the house, with security or in peace. So I can translate it that way. Do the same for 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's for your assignment. And then in terms of your word vocabs, I decided that I'll choose for every session, I will choose 5 words for every session. So for session 4, your words to memorize would be Yashav, which means he dwelt or sat, and then Nathan, it means he gave. And then for your nouns, it means nouns would be your har, it means mountain, hill country. And then your number 4 would be yom, that is a common word. Yom is day, and then is people. So you have 5 words for session 4. So Yashav, Nathan, har, yom, and then try to memorize these words for your quiz when we next meet for Zoom.